Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, Kieran's Watch Studio. Today, for the very first time, I am going to be disassembling and reassembling a watch movement. Stay to the end to find out how well I do. So the movement I'm working on is a Seagull ST36. It is a relatively inexpensive Chinese-made movement that is about 31 British pounds, 40 US dollars, and it is based on an old Swiss design. And just to show that it's working, I'm giving it a wind here, and you'll see the second hand moving and the balance wheel moving as well. So I've taken off the top of the plastic case it came in, and the first thing I am going to do is remove these placeholder hands that came on the movement. So I'll just prise them off with these hand removal tools. And sorry about the focus of the video. It's also the first time I'm filming something like this. So that is the minute hand. There is no hour hand because the hour wheel isn't installed. And then I'll take up the second hand. And because it's a thin bit of metal, it's tricky to pick up. And now to the little seconds hand. There's not much space under this, so it takes me a second attempt, and I will get that out of the way. I've now put the movement on a movement holder and tightened it down so it's held securely. As you can see, it is still ticking, so I need to let down the power stored in the mainspring. So I'm going to hold back the click and just let it unwind. So now all the power has been let out, it's safe to start taking it apart. I'm going to remove the crown and the winding stem. So for this movement, you do that by loosening a screw. In a lot of movements, you press a lever or a button, but as you can see here, it's just come straight out. Next, I'm going to remove the crown wheel. As the name suggests, this is the wheel that gets turned when you turn the crown and wind the watch. And the screw on this should be reverse threaded, so you'll see I'm going to turn it the wrong direction. I have watched enough YouTube videos to know if you don't do this, you can strip the screw head off, and that is not a good thing. On many Swiss watches, the reverse threaded screws have 3 lines on them. This one only has 1, so you just have to remember that it is reverse threaded. Now we're going to go for the ratchet wheel. So this is called the ratchet wheel because it has a click that stops it from unwinding. This was the bit that I held when we unwound the watch earlier. So the screw wasn't completely out. Let's unscrew it a bit more, and we will get that out of the way too. So next I'm going to remove the click and the spring that sits underneath it, keeping it pushed against the ratchet wheel. I'll also take this opportunity to say, if you want to do something similar and take apart a watch movement, don't follow what I'm doing. I'm doing this for the first time and just figuring it out. So yeah, go and watch someone that knows what they're doing. Hopefully me in a few months. So anyway, here is the click, and you can see a little small piece. Next, I'm going in for that little spring that I will show you in just a second when I get it out. Okay, quite fiddly, so I'm going in for another angle. There we are. We have it. I'm putting that safely aside. So now we've got some of the winding works out of the way, we are going to take off the train wheel bridge, as I believe it's called. This holds the gear train in place, so you can see there's some little rubies on top. This one only has 3, and those are the points at which the wheels attach. So I'll try and lift it away now, and it looks like, again, I've caught myself not unscrewing the screw all the way, so back we go. And that will do nicely, so I will pick it up along with the screws and store it away. So at this point I decided I was going to take off the barrel bridge as well. I don't know if this is the correct order, but it just felt like the right thing to do, so I went ahead and did it. And I've caught myself in the same situation of not unscrewing the screws all the way. So there we go, round 2. So now I'm going to start lifting away wheels. This is the center wheel, and you'll see that I can't actually lift it because there is something on the bottom called a cannon pinion that I have not removed. You also see a little bit of the keyless works has fallen away as well. That was because I took the crown out. Yeah, and another piece. So now you see me make a bit of a mess of this, but I've got to turn it over, and then some more wheels are going to fall out because they're not held in. So that's the barrel that contains the mainspring. So I'm going to move that out of the way. And now I'm going to put it upside down and try and remove the cannon pinion. So I split this up because I was having a bit of trouble removing the cannon pinion, as you can see. It is just friction fit and should pull off, but I can now see why people buy cannon pinion removal tools. I gave up trying to film it and did it off camera. So now more gears have fallen out. Not ideal, but let's put them to one side. And now I know. Remove the cannon pinion first. So now I'm going to remove the balance wheel. And yep, whoops. I didn't have the movement screwed into the movement holder very well, so that flipped over. The balance wheel and the hairspring are about the most fragile parts of these watch movements. I've seen in other videos advice to remove them first, and perhaps I should do that next time, but here I am removing it now. Make sure the screw is out all the way, and put it to one side. And apparently it's good to store it upside down. So I'm now going to remove the escapement bridge, and as the name suggests, this holds the escape wheel, and that is part of the escapement, which regulates the amount by which the spring unwinds, and essentially means that your watch unwinds at a controllable rate that is roughly the same as the passage of time. So that just fell off. I tried to lift it off directly, but I didn't manage to do it. The reason I wanted to lift it off straight is the escape wheel has very small pivots that are quite easily damaged. Well, we shall see later if they are in fact damaged. Now I'm taking off another small little bridge. So this is the pallet fork bridge, and this holds the pallet fork, which has two little rubies that interact with the escape wheel. And they are moved backwards and forwards by the balance wheel, which was the bit we took away just before this. So we will lift that away. You can see it's a lot smaller than the other bridges. And now I'm going to go in and remove the escape wheel. So I will try and lift it directly upwards as to not damage the pivot. Now I'm going to lift up and take away the pallet fork. So again, I'm trying to lift this directly upwards to not damage it. So there is nothing left on this side to remove, so I'm going to flip the movement over and we will work on the other side. This part I am removing now is the setting spring lever. So just unscrew that and try and hold it in place because it is spring loaded and I didn't want it to fly away. Apparently I didn't need to worry. It seems to be holding in place just fine. So now I'm going to try and lift it away, and there it is. Now I'm trying to remove the yoke spring. I know that it can fly away, so I am putting a screwdriver in place just to hold it and trying to prise it free. I was being very cautious, but there we go, got it in the end. And as you can see, it is a tiny little spring that has a lot of power stored in it. Then I'm removing the yoke. This was a little bit tricky, so it took me a few attempts to get it off, but I got there in the end. And now I'm removing the intermediate wheels. So these are the wheels that interact with the hour hand and minute hand when you set the time using the crown. As you can see, there are two that are quite small and similar, and there's a larger one that has two levels on it. The bottom one is for the minute hand, and the top connects to the hour wheel. The second one was a bit tricky, so I decided to use a screwdriver in the end, and that got it free nicely. And I'm fishing out the last one now, so here it is. So now there are two parts left, and I'm going to take them both out. These are the setting lever and the little screw that we loosened to remove the crown earlier. And that is it. And there's nothing more to remove now. The movement plate is completely stripped back. So now the real test begins. I have to start putting this thing back together. So I've got here the pallet fork, and I'm ringing the escape wheel as well because I felt that they should go in first. So here's the escape wheel, and the escape wheel is not the same on the top and the bottom, so I had to try and remember which way up it goes. I'm just trying to nudge it into place so the pivot sits in the ruby, and then I can put on the bridge. I then decided that I should probably put on the pallet fork first because that bridge is lower down. So there I am putting it in place. So now I brought back both the bridges. I have decided to put the escape bridge back on first. Now, when I'm putting this in place, I am being very careful to make sure the escape wheel is sitting correctly. And I give it a bit of a spin to check. I realized that the pallet fork was in the way and I couldn't give the escape wheel a spin, so I removed that and I put it back later. You can see it took me quite a bit of time to feel comfortable that it was sitting correctly, and then only after that I felt I could put the screw in. If you tighten down the screw without it incorrectly, you bend the little pivot at the end of the escape wheel and it is not really usable anymore. You need to get a new one. Just to be completely sure, I took it away and had a look with my loop, and it looked to be seated, so I put the screw in place and checked again before tightening it down completely. So there it is, spinning free, and I give it a final tighten. So instead of putting in the pallet fork, I put in the barrel and the other wheels in the gear train. And because I'm a complete amateur, I was trying to figure out which wheel goes in first. So I was looking at them, having a look at the plate and seeing which one fits where before I started putting them in. So I decided on putting the third wheel in first, and then I put in the second wheel, and then the center wheel after that. You can see as I was putting them in, I was making sure that they were seated nicely in the rubies below, just so that when I put the bridge on above, they were in a good starting position. I'm speeding up even more now, so I'm putting in place the barrel bridge. I probably should have done this before I put the gear train in place, and you can see that I still managed to knock it off by mistake, but I got it there in the end. Once that was tightened down, I then decided to tackle the train wheel bridge, which is more difficult because not only does it have three pivots, but they are very, very small, and you have to make sure that everything is seated properly to avoid breaking the gears. I was quite lucky, it seemed to just float on. I then bring back the pallet fork, which I am now putting in place for the second time. After a bit of moving it around, I was satisfied that it was in the right place, and then I put the bridge on top and moved it around some more to check that the top pivot was in the correct place. I didn't quite trust the movement, so I thought I would look at it under the loop, which is why I lifted it away there, and then eventually I tightened down the screws. You can see I was hopeless at tightening down these screws. I kept on dropping them and not quite aligning them, but after some perseverance they did end up in there and they were tight. So once they were tight, I manipulated the pallet fork again to make sure it was seated properly and was interacting with the escape wheel, which it was. And then I realized that I had forgotten to put a part in. So this part is the screw that you loosen to release the winding stem and the crown. So I unscrewed the barrel bridge, put that in, and then I tightened it up again. I then put in the click spring, and I tried to put in the click, but for some reason, and continuing my trend of putting things in a weird order, decided to leave the spring in place but not the click. Instead, I put in place the crown wheel, which has the reverse threaded screw, and then the ratchet wheel, which is the wheel that the click connects to. Finally, I put the click back in place, so it was reunited with the click spring. So the last component on this side of the movement that I am putting in place is the balance wheel, which of course is rather fragile, as the hairspring is very small and easy to break. So I line it up and make sure that it is in the right place before I commit to tightening it down. You can see that the watch starts ticking straight away as soon as it's in the right position. So now I'm flipping the movement over and putting in place the minute wheel and the intermediate wheels. After that, I installed the setting lever and the winding pinion and sliding pinion, and put the yoke on top of the sliding pinion so that it was facing in the correct place. And you can see here that when I'm installing the yoke spring, I'm trying really hard to keep it in place and to not lose it, because apparently these really do like to go flying. So the last piece to secure is this plate, which holds everything in place, and also slightly spring-loaded for the setting lever. So you can see I was moving it around, trying to find where it goes, and as soon as I did, I put in the screws. Once that was done, I loosened the screw that I forgot to put in place, and then I installed the crown winding stem, and that was it. The movement is complete. But oh dear, I think I spoke too quickly. Something wasn't quite right when I was trying to wind the watch and when I was trying to change the time. So I very patiently took everything back apart and put it back together and hoped it was going to work. So one by one, all the components are going back. And if there is one thing that working with watch movements will teach you, it is to be very, very patient and detail oriented. I think of myself as someone that's already quite patient, and boy, did this test that. I was satisfied at this point that everything was working, so I put the cannon pinion in place, which is just friction fit. So now, after an hour and a half, the movement really is complete and back together, so I put on the little placeholder hands that the movement came with. It was very satisfying to see the second hand turning straight away. I then oiled the jewels on the dial side of the movement, and we were essentially done. And if you did watch to the end, thank you very much for watching. Pleased to report that the movement survived my dismantling and putting it back together. You can see that it is ticking away nicely. To anyone curious, this is what the movement looked like on a timegrapher after I regulated it. Not too bad, I'd say. If you did watch to the end, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please don't copy what I did, and hopefully I inspired you to do something similar. Please consider liking and subscribing and leaving a comment below if you have any thoughts. Thank you very much. Goodbye.